Hi, this is Congressman Tom Cole, and this is another one of our weekly chats about what's going on in Congress. This week, Congress has actually been in a short week, so to speak, because we have the impending July 4th holiday coming up. But it's dealt with some really consequential matters. By far, the most important is the surface transportation bill. Normally, this is actually one of the most bipartisan exercises in Congress. In my time in Congress, these are 5-year authorizations, as they're called. 3 different authorizations have been passed up to this one. And all of them have been extraordinarily bipartisan. That is, they come to the floor after what's called a bipartisan markup in the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. They go on the floor, there's additional amendments, and then the bill is always passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. That didn't happen this year. And it didn't happen because Democrats decided that in addition to marking up the normal transportation bill, that's what people think of in terms of roads, highways, bridges, dams, waterways, that sort of thing, they decided they would add to that $500 billion authorization another $1 trillion worth of spending, most of it on the Green New Deal. And they also offered enormous regulatory changes that'll be damaging to American businesses, the American economy, certainly to the oil and gas industry. And because of that, instead of having the normal bipartisan markup, the Senate has already signaled that they will not pick up the House bill. The president has already issued a veto threat. And when we vote on it, the vote will be largely a party line vote. That is, there'll be almost no Republicans supporting it, almost all Democrats backing it. And unfortunately, in divided government, and that's what we have today, a Democratic House, a Republican Senate, a Republican president, that's no way to get anything done. So it really disappoints me to see something that normally brings Congress together instead to fall into this partisan divide. I think a lot of this has to do with election year politics. Democrats want to signal to their constituencies that they're being true blue in terms of their stand on climate change. And I also think they think this is going to work to their advantage in the upcoming elections. The sad thing is the big loser here are the American people. This is a time when we need a good transportation bill. Frankly, the economy could use a shot in the arm that additional construction on infrastructure would cause. And more importantly, we just need to show we can work together in very difficult times. I'm sorry that, again, the Speaker and the majority chose to go down this road because it's going to delay projects. Eventually, there will be a transportation bill, but it may well not come until after the election. And that, again, that's unfortunate. We need the economic activity now. We need to demonstrate that we can work together in the middle of coronavirus. So while this has been a disappointing week, we also need to reflect that it's also the week in which we celebrate the foundation of our country. And it's my hope that when members go home over the weekend and experience July 4th in their communities and with their families and friends, they'll remember what an extraordinary country this is and how much we owe them in terms of our obligations as legislators to look after their best interests, to not let partisan divides keep us from accomplishing great things on behalf of the American people. Perhaps with that reflection, we can come back and have a good July, because we're going to have some important things to do in July. Probably another coronavirus relief bill, hopefully the passage of the National Defense Authorization Act, and the beginning of the appropriations process. That is actually moving the bills across the floor that will fund the government of the United States. All that lies ahead of us in July. So maybe a little break where we think about how lucky we all are to be Americans and how we've always been able to overcome our divisions and work together will bring us back in a more productive mood. But by any measure, this was a disappointing week where we could have and should have done better for the American people. And instead, the majority chose partisan politics over legislative compromise and accomplishment.